you're watching on your phone, turn your volume down.
Guys, we are going live.
Oh, great. How do I share the link to make so that people can hop and chat? Also, where do we see chat on here? Or is that something only you can see, Ken?
Well, you if you go to the public
there it
link
is.
on
Chat.
your phone. Yeah.
Okay. All right. You know what? I think I might do that. I'll pull up the public link on my phone.
Hey, everyone. We're live. It's official.
What?
We did it.
Oh, no. We're live.
What's going on, everyone? This is Ken from the Lured Up podcast. Welcome to the Creator Roundtable for AR Snapshot, Go Snapshot photography stuff.
Pictures.
We got
Pokemon Snap.
We have a full house today. We have a full house. I'm very excited. We got an awesome panel here. We're gonna meet everybody. We're gonna talk about some pretty cool stuff about AR Snapshot. And let's get into it. So first, let's introduce the panel. Myself, Ken Pescatore from Lured Up. We also have Adam Tuttle, my co-host.
Hey guys, I get to join this one.
Yes, Adam's here. He's not working on a Saturday, which is really great.
I'm happy I'm here. All
right, we've got Ash Ketchum. Yo, the ketchup logo, the watermark is probably my favorite part of all of it. I just love seeing that watermark. It's awesome.
Designed by Joe, so he did a really good job on that.
Awesome. We've got Pello here. We've got wait, say something again. Can I hear you? Did you break your microphone? I can't hear you anymore.
Really far away.
We've got Justin, JC, Pop Punk.
Hey, that's
We've got Miranda, Mortal Adventures. We've got Risa Harada 97. Risa, what's going on? And we've got Josh, the noise of Pogo, in the house.
What's up?
But everyone, welcome to the show. I appreciate it. All right, we got the chat starting to fill up. Yep, I hear you. I hear you, Pillow. All right, so the chat's starting to fill up. We got Bobby, Pokemon Snaps.
What?
Hey,
Bobby's here?
What's going on? Shiny Shanks. We got Terry Wolf.
Man, that's far-fetched.
Adam is definitely here. I wish I had a bell for all the dad jokes.
Adam.
I'll keep them coming.
All right. So first thing I want to do is have everyone get a chance to kind of just introduce themselves, introduce their channel, let us know where you're from, and go all through all that. So let's start with Ash. Why don't you take a moment to just introduce yourself to the community and tell us about what you're doing.
Thank you. First of all, thank you for inviting me. So I'm from Belgium, so that means it's now 4:30 a.m.
Yes.
So it's quite early for me, but I love to be here. So thank you for that. So I started my Instagram about a year and a half ago. So doing that stuff.
How's your dog? Your dog is running around.
Oh yeah, so my dog's now awake, so
I'm sure
she's keeping herself busy.
You're just
so
up in the middle of the night.
Yeah, she's having me company at this hour, so
You're gonna have doggy jet lag.
Yeah.
It's so cute.
Yeah, it is.
All right, we got Pello. Introduce yourself, man.
Hey, my name is Gerardo, or Jerry, but everybody calls me Pelo here. I'm from Mexico. I'm a student, so yeah, that's about it. Do you guys want to know anything else?
All right, thank you. Good night.
Yeah, all right, that's it. That was a good show, guys. Well done.
All right, we got Justin, Pop Punk Pokemon.
Hey,
who introduced me to this world?
I'm guilty. I am guilty of doing that. And I'm glad you dove in because I mean, dude, you like cover all different aspects, and I love this long form version to be able to chat in long form about just about anything, So I tune into the podcast every week just to see what everyone's talking about. Everything from PvP players to Pokemon photographers to programmers and all that jazz. So it's really interesting to cover all sorts of bases. And Ken is just a wizard at coming up with the best questions to really dive deep into the topics and get everything done. So strap in, everyone, because this isn't going to be like a "What's your favorite Pokemon?" competition.
Hey, hold on.
That's my favorite question to ask.
Does my head still fit? Does my head still fit in the frame?
Bird all the way.
All right, we got Mortal Adventures Miranda on the move right now.
Yeah, I'm in the car, so I guess I'm going to turn this light on. That helps a little bit.
Hi.
There you go.
Significant other is driving currently, which is convenient for
Aww.
us. Yeah. I can? Oh, okay. I've been given permission to keep the light on for a minute or two before we get on the highway.
Yeah, you see red and blues behind you.
the photographer community Discord. So that's where I am most of the time. Although it is really great to meet up with everybody on Instagram and do fun stuff like this. So I really appreciate you having us, of course.
Awesome. Well, we're very glad to have you, and thanks for making it work, making it happen.
Thanks for making that, by the way. The Discord, that thing is amazing.
I mean, it wouldn't be amazing without everybody in the community participating and making it great. So that's what I really appreciate.
Aw.
I know, right? All right, Risa Harada 97. Introduce yourself.
Hi, I'm Risa. Yes, I am a guy.
That's news to me.
What? I didn't know that. Jeez, this entire time I thought.
Yeah,
like,
no, that was the question that was asked for a long time. Is he a guy or a girl?
Speaking of guys or girls, congrats on the baby.
Thank you.
Yeah. Congratulations.
Congrats, man.
She's sleeping right now. So
that's good.
Yes.
That is good.
Yes.
You probably should be sleeping then.
No.
Take advantage.
I guess you would say my brand's like out in nature, always out in nature, taking photos.
That's good. Outside is what this is all about. I mean, that's half the fun of all this is actually doing location stuff, and we'll talk about that when we kind of dig into one of the first topics on the show here. But yeah, that's awesome. Where are you from?
Florida.
Oh man, you get the good regionals.
Ocala.
I work in Ocala, so
awesome. And then we have the noise of Pogo. How are you, man? Introduce yourself.
Good. Name's Josh. I'm up in Vancouver, Washington. Relatively new to this whole photography thing. Started a few months back. Actually, Ken, you had retweeted a video of Justin's about like, hey, do you want to get into AR photos? This is what you should do. I was like, no, I don't, because I don't give a damn about this. And I watched the video. I'm like, okay, actually, there might be some things here.
Thanks for watching that, by the way.
Yeah. No, I really like that. I'm like, plus you're from what, Santa Barbara, right?
I live in Santa Barbara now, but I've lived everywhere, man. Yeah.
Sure. I grew up in Lompoc.
Oh, get out of here. That's wild.
Yeah. So
I'm in Goleta.
yeah. So you're going around and like looking at all these locations. I'm like, yeah, I've been there, grew up around that. Yeah. So I was like, okay.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. So I figured I'd give the AR photography a shot, and I started getting really into it, and it's just kind of grown from there. So
I know your work's been evolving, and it's like it's just awesome to see.
Yeah.
Do you live in Lompoc now?
No. I up in Vancouver, Washington.
Oh.
Yeah.
We should hang out. But...
No, that'd be awesome. Yeah, I wish.
All right, so we've met our panel. We've met our fantastic, lovely panel here today, and I want to just jump right into it. Again, thanks to everyone who's hanging out in the chat. Who else we got in here? Poke Atlas. Val's in the chat. Val, what's up?
What's
going on?
She's downstairs.
Wait, did I send her a gift? I don't know if I sent her a gift yet.
All right, so one of the first things I want to talk about here is the Go Snapshot Challenge. I think this is a good starting point for our conversation, mainly because this has kind of been Niantic's first real push of outside of launching the mechanic itself. This is their first real push of marketing for the mechanic. So when this first came out, when the Go Snapshot Challenge was first announced, for me, I thought this was a fantastic way to kind of level the playing field. Because what ended up happening was you saw these standout artists, many of which are here today, but you saw like all this really intense editing techniques and great lighting effects and all this really, really wild stuff that was much, much deeper than the average and everyday AR photographer could get into. So with Go Snapshot and their limitations of no edits, that kind of changed everything, and that kind of made it exceptionally accessible for everyone to get into. So the first thing I want to talk about today is how everyone used to only be able to take photos during the catch sequence, first of all, which made everything like it. Doesn't that seem like that was years ago? Like that seems like it was ancient. Like
God.
no one does that at all anymore. But
yes, Marty McFly did
like
seem
another
ancient.
world ago. Yeah.
Yeah, he called me Marty McFly. He's like, people still do that? I'm like, no. Well, that's the thing. It's like it was bizarre to think that you had to use the catch mechanic and risk your catch, and the amount of times that you would have
risk a shiny 100%.
Yeah, well,
Yeah.
that's the half the problem, though. I wouldn't do that. I mean, that's
no.
for me. I'd be like, no, man, I'm golden,
done it. I've
golden
lost
raz.
2 shinies that way.
See, I was shooting on an
Growlithe,
iPhone 5. So like
No.
I could take the picture of the shiny, but only in that standalone.
Yeah,
With no-
I would not be one to risk it, and that wasn't my style in any way, man. So more power to you for sure. But the things I want to really talk about here is when this mechanic was announced, I know that everyone that was already in this space and was risking their catches and was out there, going to locations and shooting, it was a game changer. And I remember, Justin, we had you on the podcast right before this went live. They had made the announcement,
4 days
and I remember you saying, like, this is a game changer. This is going to kind of change the way I interact with this game on a daily basis. So why don't you speak to that a little bit of how this has kind of changed the way you interact with the app itself, and how this is kind of influencing your gameplay on a day-to-day?
Oh, dude. First of all, I remember when the game, and I think I mentioned this in the podcast that we did, but I remember when it was being announced and it was on its way, a lot of people were, like, at least in our community, in the little AR photography community on Instagram, some people were against it completely because their whole worldview was about finding the white whale, so you find yourself the rare spawn, and that's like your reward is capturing a good photo of it, not even just capturing the Pokemon. At that rate, we had stopped giving a crap about catching the Pokemon itself and more about getting that good photo. So a lot of people were against it at first, and I was like, no, you don't understand. It's going to open doors. It's going to give us more possibilities. In fact, endless possibilities that make it even harder. So it is difficult to find those rare spawns, but now you have to have them in your Pokedex. You have to have them already. You have to have either captured them or hatched them in some way, shape, or form. So shinies and things like that, you don't have to worry about losing. So there's no gamble in losing the Pokemon anymore if you were one of those people. So I was really excited about the fact that you don't have to gamble anymore. And a couple, I think 2 weeks ago, I went and tried to go back and do it the old way, through a catch sequence and just do the regular take a photo, because I was trying to do a photo of a Machop punching. And in the snapshot sequence, you cannot get him to punch. He just does this weird charge up thing. So I had to find a wild Machop and get that punch animation, but also not lose it and get it in the right position. So I remember the difficulties of trying to get it.
It's only the core group that really knows the animations that you get from a wild encounter and think oh, that's a harder shot to get. And I think the average viewer really just looks at it and thinks oh, that's a good shot. That's cool.
Yeah.
So I think there's some kind of animosity there where it's we know we worked harder for this in particular, but we don't have a way to express that other than
that's it's like getting the actual Vine Whip in a Bulbasaur shot. You know what I mean? You
Chikorita,
you can't trigger that. I hope that comes to Go Snapshot. I really hope that there's going to be posing or even scaling or things like that, and we can talk about what we our tinfoil wish list. Occlusion. Oh my God,
I really want occlusion.
I know that's massive for me. I cannot wait for that. But I think that's a really good point with kind of the mystique and the allure initially was that gamble. And for me, who's, I don't get to play as much as these, hardcore people. So man, if I found a shiny, I don't know, man, it would break my heart if I risked it and lost it all. But I understand the allure there, and that kind of added to the kind of, the weight of what it took to create that photo. But the accessibility here is really what has changed the amount of penetration, Giggity, that AR has had in general.
We'll see. Now it's you're going out and you can see, if you have that shot and you can envision that shot, you can just whip out the Pokemon and just be like, boom, there it goes.
Giggity.
Or
see, a lot of people were saying that would make it easier for everyone, but it isn't. It actually makes it more difficult because now you've got infinite options.
Choice.
Exactly.
It's just I'm off all the time, bogged down by infinite choice.
Yep. See, now before it was all right, am I in the right location for this rare spawn? If I am, great, take the photo. If I'm not, so that made your choice easy. Whereas now it's like, okay, I can be in an amazing location. Which option do I choose? Which one is best?
Out of
you don't want to
400 and something.
Yeah,
Crazy.
you don't want to oversaturate that location. So you try to pick different angles that make it look different. And like I remember I was talking to my buddy Kyler about this, in that I did a Squirtle photo like a long time ago in the exact same location as like an Entei photo or something else. And that the way I edited each photo were vastly different and they were in the same location. So I needed them to seem like different photos, you know? So that was my like get around of not overexposing and oversaturating usage of that amazing location, you know? So that's what makes it harder for us now.
Right. And I think one of the really cool things, and I'll kind of lean on the noise here, because you work outside, right? Like you travel a lot for work, like you're out there all the time. So, I'm gonna experiment here with a little bit of a screen share, because I wanted to show off kind of
how many shinies.
Well, no, well, yeah. Not only is he a shiny like wizard, but a shot like this where it's necessary to be out there. This isn't a gamble of saying like, oh man, I have to catch this Pokemon at this location. Like finding this Pokemon at this location, matching that palette, to the Pokemon, it would be almost an impossibility. So the benefit of the accessibility of being able to whip this Pokemon out and line it up and kind of match it up with the actual real life background was kind of that it was amazing. So it's like, how important really do you think getting to these locations is? Like, is that part that it's got to be for the photographer? That's got to be part of the fun, right?
The journey. I mean, it's absolutely amazing, the journey.
Yeah,
dude, Rissa, like I've seen Rissa do live streams of like him paddling out, like in like because you're really close to like streams and rivers and stuff. Like I remember living in Florida, like all those creeks and swamps. Dude, yeah. So like you're out there paddling to get to these really great locations. Like I think it was that Squirtle photo you did, like on like a log or something a little bit further away, like
on a kayak.
Yeah. Like
it's amazing.
Well, there was
It's
the
great.
one on the kayak, but the one with the log that was featured on CTV News, that was just off like a beaten trail.
I love that log.
I love that one
taking
too.
a couple pictures there. I love that log.
That log is so good.
Let me see if I can pull this one up real quick. Here we go. This
No,
is
that
there,
one.
Yeah,
there's
that's
your
the one. Yeah, that's the one.
So I mean, like stuff like this, like this, it would nearly be impossible.
No, it would be impossible because the community today with the shiny
Oh,
Squirtle and the
Yeah.
sunglasses is already gone. You couldn't get that.
Yep.
Yeah.
That's like Witch Hat Pikachu.
That's a white whale shot right there, man.
Yeah.
Everywhere I go now, it's like I see like the space, and it's like which Pokemon would be good to be photographed here, and like I have to like run through like my memory of like all of them and try to avoid like the Pokemon I like taking pictures of the most and try to find
that's
new
always
ones.
the problem. It's
But, like
yeah, we
everywhere I
just
go,
took their
it's like
picture.
like different scenery, different backgrounds, different
Mhm.
everything.
You're like
Yeah.
Delibird in the woods, Delibird in the water, Delibird here, Delibird there.
Yeah.
I'm
There's just
lucky.
infinite possibilities with Delibird.
I'm lucky that I'm doing this like playthrough of Blue series, so it's like really keeping me focused as far as theme goes, So I really don't
Dude,
have
I
to
love
branch
that.
out. Thank you, man. It's being really well received, and I want to finish it before GoFest, and I have about 100 Pokemon left to do, so I've got a big
Oh my
task.
God. You need to put
You
some
could
work-
go. You could do like Elite Four with us at GoFest. Like that.
I like that idea. I thought about doing something like
What's
that.
up, Ash?
Yeah. But yeah, I'm down to do that for sure.
Awesome.
So that-
No, and this, with raw photos, like, was it refreshing to kind of go back to the Go Snapshot Challenge and not have to edit? was that kind of like let me hear from Ash here. So, looking at your work, you have an exceptionally natural aesthetic. And
Thank
what I
you.
like about some of this stuff is the naturalization of the Pokemon to the setting. It's just the blending and the palettes work so exceptionally well that level of editing is almost transparent. So but obviously I know that there's a significant amount of work that's gone into this. So when you did stuff for the Go Snapshot challenge, was that like bizarre for you to like not have to kind of do all that work?
Yeah, at first when they announced the challenge, I was like, okay, we cannot edit. Okay, how should I do my shots now? But when I tried it, it was actually quite okay. But yeah, it's really, you have to put more effort in the shot itself, because when you have the possibility to edit, yeah, you can make a bad shot an extremely great shot. So it was really pushing ourselves, I think, because yeah, not editing, yeah, that's one of those. So actually, when you have that Celebi not caught yet, it will do the animation trick. But the thing is, I think it's a bug or something, that the environment gets pixelated. I don't know if you guys have that too.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, so that was a pretty hard shot. So even without editing, I think it's quite okay. So yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, no, that's fantastic. And I mean, you know, looking at the differences in these shots and really, you know, trying to pinpoint like what was done here, what is organic, what was really there, what was manipulated, you know, that's a lot of fun. And again, the trained eye and the trained trainer that knows this animation is only going to happen in a catch sequence or something like that. That is that kind of like little tip of the hat to say, like, you know, I know I got you, like, hey, you know, this is legit. You know, that's definitely really, really cool. So yeah, I think that the Go Snapshot challenge was very refreshing.
Yeah, true.
You know, and but I'm definitely ready to see some extreme stuff come back, because you know it was great. I just thought it was accessible, very accessible, and I'm really excited that Niantic kind of took this approach to this mechanic where they got people involved, they got people to get out there and do it in completely different ways and interact with the Pokemon. And I mean, and the winners from each of the three categories, they're phenomenal, absolutely phenomenal, and super unique, absolutely unique. So
yeah, I also think the
well, I know we had mentioned the Empoleon Shadow.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I saw that.
I don't know. It hurt a little bit to see that, and I was like,
I mean, there's no way to fix that with
no. I know.
Post. So like, for Niantic to choose something that highlights
that
like,
wasn't even his best photo.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Rissa is bursting at the seams.
He is livid.
His Entei photo was better than his Empoleon photo, and they chose that photo to feature his runner-up.
Yeah.
He's gonna smash.
I think it's just
break
such
something.
a strange choice on their end to highlight a photo that like their AR makes the shadow look poor against those rocks.
Yes.
So like, wouldn't you go with, again, even from the same creator, a photo that highlights what your app can do, rather than
but perhaps
a lot of us looking at it and
but
thinking,
maybe that was the goal, like saying like, hey, this is, you know, you can get away with this stuff when you're editing, but this is raw, this is the capability of the tool, right. You know, and they want to, you know, they wanted to keep it organic. Like, I'm sure there's a million ways and reasons and all that good stuff, but no, I think that the Go Snapshot challenge was just absolutely fantastic, and I really hope they continue to do this. And I'm really looking forward to Go Fest, because they're going to have specific, you know, Go Snapshot stations.
Yeah, they did mention that they would have like photo shoot options and stuff.
Well, last year they had the habitats, which was where and how I got into doing AR stuff. Was Go Fest?
It was so many people circling all those habitats.
Yeah, it was so hard. Like, honestly, I tried
get out of the frame. Get out of the frame. I'm trying to take a picture of Pokemon here.
It took a lot of patience.
Yeah, I preferred to do the snapshots like right outside, like against the trees.
Yeah,
I didn't get like a ton of people, but yeah, like I hope this year it's really cool, because I'm just really grateful that I think it's the first time Pokemon Go has actually been like, you know, AR photography is a really big thing, and we are investing like 100% in it.
Yeah.
So I'm I'm just in awe because that comes with everybody's work. So that means that we've all been doing such a great thing that we've inspired them that we're worth it. Like
Yeah, the
it's
vote of
amazing.
confidence is really
100%
what
agree with
I
that.
appreciate. Yeah,
Yeah,
like they're
no, you're
trying,
definitely right.
and I'll take it.
Yeah, I remember when they even announced that a feature like that was going to be like Go Snapshot, that was possibility of coming. It was shortly after like the meeting with the YouTubers in San Francisco.
Yeah.
And I remember reaching out to Zoe personally and just being like, I know you can't say anything because, non-disclosures and stuff like that, but I'm just curious. I'm just curious if it was discussed,
If it was on the table.
If it was on the table and if it was something we could expect soon. Obviously, we had no idea it was going to come like a week later, which was bananas.
Yeah,
so it really showed that they were like ready, and like now that it's out, they're going to keep adding to it, just like PvP. Like that, it was like a soft launch, and then now they're adding to it more movesets, more things. It's just the same thing is going to happen with Go Snapshot. So I'm predicting that like more things like occlusion and stuff like that are going to start coming within the next couple of months.
Yeah, I remember when I came out and I called Ash on his phone screaming, "It's time!"
The sad part was I couldn't do it on iOS for like 2 days.
Oh yeah, that's right. It launched on Android first.
Yeah, someone tweeted like the biggest upset of Go Snapshot is that I couldn't have access to it for 2 whole days.
Yeah, I was like chatting all over the WhatsApp groups, and I was like, "Who has an Android phone that can let me borrow it? Like just quickly, please." I was like, I don't know how much time I got, but just help me. And everybody was like, "Nah."
Nah.
I think what AR Plus is missing, or Go Snapshot, is the ability to put the sun somewhere, so I can move
like
the
that
shadow.
idea. Yeah, that would be awesome.
Because sometimes it's just the shot's perfect. But the shadow is just like in front of it, and you're like,
"Yep, doesn't make sense.
No, it needs to be on the left, or it needs to be on the right."
Yeah. That would be cool. I really like that idea, Adam.
All right, well, let's shift gears a little bit here, and I want to talk about Instagram, because I think that's one of the kind of common foundational points of this whole group here is
we are all on there.
Yeah, and how Instagram has really become this public home and this breeding ground for talent and sharing and community for AR photography. And I think that is this like the ideal platform? Like, is this really like Ash? What do you think, man? Is Instagram made for AR photography?
Yeah, actually, I think it's not bad, but there could be some improvements maybe. Like, I don't know, sometimes I have a photo which I put in like days of work. It gets like minimum amount of likes, and then I take a photo in 1 minute and it gets like 2,000 likes, like the Snorlax in front of the sodas. I was like, okay, I'll just do it. I think it got like 2,000 likes.
Wow.
So I don't know. The algorithm is changing a lot. So there could be
the
room for
unpredictability of it is really
true.
Not my favorite feature.
True, that's a bit strange in some sense, but I like it.
But Twitter's whole nother beast.
Yeah,
because you can't push that
I still
to
have
Instagram.
no idea how Twitter works at this point.
You just type something and then you regret it later.
Yeah,
That's
just
pretty much how Twitter
shouting
works.
into the void is what it feels like.
Yeah.
So if I unplug my mic, are we going to get echoes if I'm on mobile?
I don't know.
Maybe try it. Let's see.
Okay.
Hello.
Echoey?
No.
It doesn't sound echoey.
Hello from the interwebs.
So we made it home.
Shout it into the void.
How's it
going?
Hey.
Hi.
All right. Awesome. Yeah. No, I really dig Instagram, and I think that's one of the easiest ways for fans and the community to kind of come together about this. And I think with the explosion of kind of screen sharing and things like that, the community is the next thing I really wanted to talk about here, because one of the first things that Justin had said to me when we had him on the show was how incredibly helpful and willing to share best practices and share, things that makes everyone do better. And I think that's kind of paramount in an artistic community at large, but really that's something that kind of trickles down from, you know, the Pokemon vibe at large. You know what I mean? Like this really follows the model of Pokemon with, you know, being about community and friends and building these relationships. And, you know, like Mortal, like you were saying on Discord, I mean, it's the communities that I see that are around photography, around the AR photography, have, you know, you're always going to have your toxicity. You're always going to have the people that are going to shit on your parade. You know, you could spend, you know, so much time making this wonderful piece, you know, and all this stuff. And there's always going to be people that are going to bash it. But when it comes to the creative community, I've learned that it's absolutely amazing to see how supportive and reinforcing the community is at large. I mean, who wants to talk on the community here? I mean, like I guess Miranda, like
I think Ash and Miranda are like the leaders in our community, honestly, and Palo as well.
I mean,
no, for real.
I just want to say something real quick. For me, I was very close. I was like, this is a competition, you know, at the beginning. I was like, I'm trying to get followers. I'm trying to work on it, you know. And then I saw Ash, and he started talking to me and stuff. We had like basically no followers compared to today, you know. And I just got inspired by him, and I decided to open myself and be like, you know, like if he can help me, I can help more people, you know, like we can get along.
True.
And and I just wanted to thank you, Ash, because you've opened me to be like
More open.
more
Yes.
less competitive and more
Yeah.
more of a creative thing, you know, like helping people do what we can do, and so that we can see better content every day, you know. Maybe it's not our time tomorrow, but we help them or something.
That stuck with me since I watched the episode that JC was on last time with you guys, and it came up that something along the lines of when the tide rises, we all get lifted up. And
that's my line.
So
There's
great.
Ken.
That's all Ken.
Well, when the tide rises, all the boats get lifted.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. I mean, the community has been like so loving and so wonderful, and the Discord has been, you know, a real tangible place for, I guess, the majority of this year, so 5 months or so. And like, I haven't had a single issue. I haven't had to pull anybody aside or even ban anybody or say anything to that degree.
Everybody knock on wood.
Especially Rissa.
Yeah.
Whoa,
Yeah,
whoa,
Rissa,
what?
yeah, come on.
But no, you're right, Miranda. You're absolutely right. Like everyone's been just so supportive. And then we like Instagram changed a setting a couple weeks ago where we were able to add more people to that group thread on Instagram. So now people like Pikachu pictures are in there constantly, just like thank you everybody. And like it's amazing how much support. And like honestly, like just like Palo said, owe it to Ash, man. With him running like those contests about like the gym leaders and stuff like that, and just having everybody be creative about one thing. Like, Ash, not a day goes by where like Ash doesn't feature a new profile. This guy's doing good stuff. This girl's doing good stuff. And Palo started doing that as well. So every time I check a new like story, it's like, oh, I have 4 or 5 new people to follow because these guys are going out and saying, hey, check out those guys. And that's how I got my followers, was from Ash and Palo, you know, guys like that.
And Ash, you did the AR breakout?
Are really fun too.
Yeah.
No, the AR breakout is from Totoletti. So
that was Totoletti inspired me.
Yeah.
And then, so I'm like, oh, AR breakout, that's sick. And then JC, you were like, hey, I'm gonna show you how to do it. And then you had messaged me and was like, hey, I got some crazy idea, you know. And then I was just like, wait a minute. And then I just texted you a bunch of pictures or message you with AR photos on the cards, and I was like, man, I'm just gonna post something right now because I'm so excited. And then that's what started the whole thing. And
no, like I remember having a call and sending JC a message like, yo, can you jump on a 15-minute call? I need you to help me work with some apps here. And you know, it was
a 45-minute tutorial later, I was able to teach them how to do this.
And it was like, this is kind of, you know, what Adam has found like a creative outlet here.
Awesome.
Yeah, I love doing it. And I'm like so upset that my Ghost Snapshot, it literally, like, I push the ball, it throws it, and it goes, the whole screen freezes. So it's super annoying. It's like all I want to do is take photos, and I've had all these cards lined up, and I'm just like, I'm ready to go. I have a bunch of photos that I took. Like, all ready to just insert some AR Pokemon. I just need the Pokemon.
Yeah, no, and one of Adam is a TCG guy, so the taking the AR breakout thing and blending it with the TCG was very natural for him. I'm proud of this one. I did this one.
I love that one so much.
This was
Boochie Boochies, man.
This was
you ever had your
you know-
ass licked by a fat man and overcut?
yeah.
Hey, doesn't he owe me $10?
Yep. But no, it's definitely really cool learning these different techniques and learning these apps. And that that's pretty much whenever I speak to someone on AR, that's one of the first things that they talk about. They say, "How the hell do you do this stuff? Like what apps are you using?" And I remember when we had JC on, it was the same way. It was just like he's like, "Oh, this is the number one question. Hold on, let me figure out what we got here." And it's like, you find these tools and they're all accessible. They're all, and for the most part free. You know what I mean? So it's like, it's very cool that all these tools are at our disposal, with all that. It's very, very cool. Oh, I want to say what's up to JT Valor in the chat right now.
Yeah, I'm talking to him. What's up, JT Valor?
Yo, we got Kyler in the chat. We got
Kyler's
Bruce
in the
Button
chat?
Nash.
What?
Kyler's hanging out.
Hold on. I gotta get my phone in. Here. I gotta say
Kyler's
hi.
vaping.
No, there's no snap on there. I was like,
Everyone's like, "Who's vaping, bro?"
Kyler is pushing his his EV
I just
agenda.
quit, so I'm very triggered.
You
You
triggered?
guys jealous? I'm gonna meet Valor tomorrow.
Vape Nation over here.
Oh hell yeah, yo, Rista, tell JT I said what's up.
Alright. I'll probably forget.
Just tell him you know me, and he'll probably hang out.
Oh, okay.
You can't get away. You're on the
All right.
internet. The whole
Alright.
internet knows you vape.
All right, we talked about Go Snapshot. We talked about raw photos. We talked about Instagram platform sharing. Everyone in the community coming together. Started getting into talking about apps, right? So let's talk about the real hard editing here, because I think that's part of the separation from the masses to the people that are taking things a little bit more seriously and digging a little bit deeper. And what I want to get is your feelings on
deeper.
Do you deeper and deeper, way down, way down. Do you think that editing is necessary? Do you think that the direction that editing takes these photos is something that if someone wants to explore this as a hobby, that's the road that they should go down? Like, do you think that that's a natural progression in this artistic, and create it as a creative outlet? Like, is editing
No.
really the way to go?
No way. Nope.
No.
Absolutely
I
not.
don't think you don't have to edit your photos to make them look good. I mean, I have several photos on my page that are just natural, and you really just don't need to. And
Yeah,
you,
fact.
I agree with
see
that.
that really great looking photo.
Yeah.
Because
Look
sometimes
at accounts like
I just take the
Risto
eraser
Peachy,
tool.
Wildcat Mom, Growlith Girl. They barely edit their photos, and those accounts are all so creative with what they do.
Yeah,
I think that just in order to play the devil's advocate a little bit, because I think that you can definitely take photos that are unedited that come out phenomenal. And there are a handful of people who take unedited photos exclusively in our community. But
Yeah.
I do think that there's a level of, if you're going to post to Instagram and you're going to look to grow on that platform, can you do that with unedited photos entirely? And there's a few creators in the community who have and who can. But I think that comes into play. And I think that that's something that you consider as you grow on a platform like Instagram. And I don't think it's the nature of AR photography that feels like it needs to be edited. I think it's very much like the Instagram culture of, if it isn't bright enough, it's not going to get the eyes that you're hoping that it will.
I mean, look at an account like Pokédog Zelda,
Yeah.
like that. His whole aesthetic is just Pokemon interacting with the dog Zelda, and that
Yeah.
account has so much love. Like, everybody loves that dog.
Yeah, but it is
best
it's definitely
dog.
edited to enhance those colors, and he edits his photos the same way every time, so that Scott gets like that polka dog Zelda look on
Yeah,
every
it's a
photo.
consistent.
And I mean, they go over well because they're awesome.
Yeah.
I think it's very much a personal creative thing.
Yeah.
For me, I started out not doing much editing, but I mean, I can't say no to fun. Like I see JC, and I thank a lot to Ash because he has these tutorials in his highlights.
I love
And-
Ash tutorials.
And I love the hashtag, the weekly hashtag we used to do. Where we were like, oh, hashtag whatever, and we all learned together. Like we all
Yeah.
taught each other, like this is how it's gonna be done,
Except Ash
and
from
everybody
Red
try
Games
it
come
out.
back on the 26th, by the way.
Yeah,
Oh,
which is
yeah.
Next
Yeah.
week.
super cool.
I might not make it. I've been skipping them. I'm sorry. I've been busy.
Okay.
No.
And
No,
Ash
we've
might
been
win.
taking a break since the Snapshot contest came
Oh,
out.
right. Yeah.
Yeah, so we're coming back the 26th. Dark
Okay,
Type
cool.
Rises is hosting. So
Ooh, Dark Type is another amazing account.
absolutely.
So let's talk about another thing here that's kind of outside of the editing space, and that's going to kind of be that first to market, if you will. And I want to go over to Palos here because this photo kind of
I saw that the other
it
day.
really took me by surprise because it was, I don't know, I figured out that this thing was actually released, and then immediately you get a
Yep.
picture of this thing up, and it's
I
like,
saw that. It was like-
Kudos.
yeah,
It's crazy because this is exactly what Ash was talking about. Like I spend hours on one picture, and it's like, meh, And then I'm like, just running out from my home to my work, and I'm like, oh, a hippopotamus on the radar, and I just catch it, rare candy, evolve it, take a picture in a second, make virtually no editing, and 1,500 likes, which is crazy, like how? But yeah, it's
Well, it's a brand new
selling what
Pokemon.
exactly. It's selling what's new, and sometimes
Yes.
I'm like, I really want to do like I caught the shiny iPhone, and I'm like, I should really do an AR, and I'm like, like for me personally, maybe I don't want every time. I don't want like the pure like. Sometimes I want to post my community, like you guys see, like could have posted like what was hot that week, but I was like, I feel really proud of something else, and yeah, it sells. It definitely sells. The new
Yeah, like
stuff.
tomorrow is community day, so I'm gonna have a Torchic card picture. You know what I mean? Like that's gonna be the card of the day is a Torchic. So
Spoiler.
well, I know, right? Well, I mean, if you guys do AR photos of Torchic, Combuskin, or Blaziken, they're relevant. People are gonna
that's
search for
like-
those hashtags.
I'm not even done with Gen 1 yet.
This is a photo I did that our photos, and again, this is the volatility of Instagram, right? So normally our photos, 50 to 100 likes, that stuff, and that's a very nice consistent number. But then just manipulating the system, tagging coffee, tagging Starbucks, tagging certain things, and all of a sudden 1,500 likes. You know what I mean? So it's like it's definitely the Instagram has its own meta. You know what I mean? Where you kind of have to be aware of, how to kind of play that game, just like manipulating the YouTube algorithm to your own benefit of, playing that game.
Which I know is terrible because
Yeah, that's exactly.
the Go Snapshot hashtags have been used on photos that are not
Thank
Go
you.
Snapshot.
Yeah.
Well,
I can
here's
see it in all your
the thing,
faces. I can see it in all the faces.
I can see where this is kind of heading, and just to chime in on mental health here for a minute, it's like it is extremely dangerous to really like equate yourself with likes and equate your work with likes and equate your work with comments and what people are saying about it. Like I told myself when I started this account, it doesn't matter how many followers I get, it doesn't matter how many likes I get, it doesn't matter how many comments or whatever, it doesn't matter. It's all about just putting art out there. And if people come, people come, So I think there's a fine line of like, obviously doing things to grow your channel or grow your brand or whatever that is versus equating your art with those numbers. It's a very dangerous path. And I think it takes a strong-willed person to ride that line very fine. So that's my piece.
Yeah,
on
and you're
that.
you're telling a story with your post. So like, no matter when anybody finds you, they can start back at the beginning and be like, "Wow, like this is a journey," and get excited through those photos. Like,
And then every so often, like you hit that sweet spot, and for some reason something goes viral or it does well that one day, and then the next day something that you worked equally as hard on doesn't
or harder.
doesn't go as well as you planned. You're like, oh, what did I do wrong? And you have to realize that
You gotta
that's
get out of that
not the way
headspace.
that the system works. Instagram is its own beast.
Yeah, and now let's talk about how much time you guys actually invest in these photos, because when I was first learning these tools and first learning how to cut out pictures and first learning how to do all this stuff, it's like I'm sitting here and it's like I'll spend the time. I'll sit on the toilet for like 45 minutes and like try. I'm like, I've been in here for 45 minutes. What the hell am I doing?
My legs are numb.
But it's like Ash, what do you? How much time you spend on your photos typically each?
Yeah, I think in the beginning it was not so much. It was like, okay, you start with it, you don't have any experience. I think like 10 minutes max. Then I started using like a lot of apps, like Justin does, like maybe 10, 15 apps. And you try adjusting every little bit. Yeah, that easily took like 1 hour maybe. But now I started to use only 3, 4 apps. And I think at average it's like 10, 15 minutes, 20 minutes. So yeah.
That's awesome. Like that's a sweet, literally that's an awesome sweet spot.
Yeah,
because
I just think you don't have to overdo the edit, because when you edit too much, it will sometimes I look at the original picture, I think, okay, it's much better than what I did in an edit of an hour. You see? So yeah.
Yeah, see, that's why I like
tunnel vision.
Yeah, true.
Yeah, because I try to just do like the AR shot and then just do the eraser tool to get rid of the Pokemon, because like I hate having to edit that picture to get the Pokemon the way I like it, but then edit the actual card photo too, because like when you swipe over, I don't want it to look different,
Right. Yeah.
Right. But like Noise, what do you think, man? Because as I look at your photos, one of the things that really kind of stands out to me is the vibrancy and the manipulation of kind of white balance and saturation. I think that but without going into like having to play with an exceptional amount of lighting and other types of manipulation, I think that what really gets highlighted in your photos is this pop, this ultimate color and vibrancy. And like as I scroll through your page, that's what really is super attractive to me is the amount of colors that I see kind of just jumping out and how vibrant everything looks. Like how much time are you spending on these photos, and what's your angle here? Because it seems that you've got the color thing kind of on lock.
Sure. I mean, color is always great. Honestly, like you guys are gonna hate this, like 5-10 minutes per photo.
That's awesome.
That's great.
So back in the day I studied journalism and got into like sports photography for journalism. And when you're pushing out newspapers and whatnot, when it comes to photos, you have to edit them as quickly as possible to get them out. So like that's my mentality whenever I'm manipulating photos, is as quickly as possible to get like the best look that you can for the short amount of time. If you sit there and try to tweak every little detail, you're going to spend so much time doing it, which the result is great, but I just don't have that mentality to be able to pick at little things like that for too long. I just have to churn it out really quickly. So yeah, I don't spend honestly too much time on it at all. I only use like 2 apps, if that. And yeah, like you said, like color. I try to focus on color, matching colors. Living up in the Pacific Northwest, kind of blessed with really good habitats and landscapes around, which is super helpful because, like you're saying before, if you live in a place that just has this shitty landscapes around, like just like you can only do so much, and that
I disagree with that.
Well,
Here's the thing. I want to start a new challenge eventually. Good pictures in shitty locations, which was no, for sure.
Under my table.
That would be a great hashtag.
Hashtag
great photos in shitty locations.
Honestly, guys, like I think
people did, and now I want to do it for our stuff because I think it's entirely possible. And I hate that people get discouraged and think that they can't go out because they don't live in those beautiful landscape places.
Sure.
You know what I mean? Because someone's backyard could be just as awesome as a puddle in New York City or a sewer cap or a staircase. Like it's all about using your creative mind with the place that you're at. So I hate it's great that people live in amazing places like the way where Rissa lives or where Noise lives, or even Miranda. Like a lot of your locations are really great too, like the beaches and stuff. Ash is just on another level. Like start there. Palo,
no, honestly,
and stuff like that.
For me, I'm having a hard time because outside my house, like I live in Mexico, it's a semi-desert. There's nothing and cactus and nothing and cactus. So for me, like I took a picture, and this is a great example, like of a Lunatone, and I did a AR exchange. What is it called? It started by Hex. Thank you so much.
Yeah,
And
AR
yeah, AR Star Swap.
Yeah.
And sent them to a couple from Hartlepool from the UK.
Yeah, those are
Pokemon
amazing.
Go Hartlepool. Yeah, and they edited him. They edited him like they made it look so good. Like it's just outside my house in a semi-desert, nothing. Just a Lunatone, and they made it look gorgeous. So that's a great example of that. Like,
but bouncing back to what the Noise was saying, like I think it's important that if you spend too much time on these things, what's going to end up happening is, if you were a painter, right, your canvas is going to end up being, 2 inches thick with just layers and layers and layers of paint, and you end up losing that real substance that's in that initial raw layer. And when you dig in that much, I do think that it really takes away from the original photo, the original picture. Yeah,
I
because
also think from especially from like a self-care or like a mental health aspect, dealing with all of this through social media, you have to keep in mind how long someone else is going to look at that photo. If you spend 45 minutes editing it and then it doesn't do as well as you expected to, or it doesn't get the notoriety that you're expecting, I think that there's something that just, it feels like you didn't do it for you and it's not getting what you expected it to get. But if you keep making content and you don't let yourself get bogged down by like making the absolute perfect picture, and you just keep moving forward, I think eventually like your content grows exponentially when you do things that way, rather than trying to get it right on every
well
single
said.
Your
Very
style
well
will
said.
grow, and the more practice you get, the better you're going to get. So your content's going to create better stuff, So yeah, absolutely. Just that's what when people ask me for advice, the first thing I tell them is just shoot every day. Even if you don't post every day, shoot every day, because you'll get practice. And that way, when you are in that spot with that sweet location, you know what you're doing when you get there,
Mm-hmm.
Well, I think that kind of rolls into the next thing I wanted to talk about. And that's, we're artists, we're creatives, so really the end game here is we want to surround ourselves with creative people, and we want to surround ourselves with art. So the more art that's around us, the better, because the world is a better place when there's more art. You know what I mean? So I think that kind of goes hand in hand with the community and the community building aspect of how everyone takes care of each other, everyone looks out for each other, and everyone is exceptionally supportive. And you have that mentality of, yes, just get out there and shoot. Just get out there and shoot, because the more art there is, the better. And I think that's definitely an important part of this entire dynamic of what has built this community. Is this really is art. We're using Pokemon Go, a video game, a mobile game, as a platform to create art. Just like I'm a podcaster, so it's like, just like I'm using the game as a platform to express your art, to express my art in a long form audio format. You know what I mean? Like that's one of the coolest things I think about Pokemon Go is how not only is the game exceptionally diverse, but the ways that you can interact and find little things that you could be exceptionally hyper passionate about. I think that's one of the real big selling points of what makes this game so special, is the ability for creators like us and creators like the masses and consumers and fans to be able to find something that they can latch onto and kind of just immerse themselves in. And I think the more art that's in our world is really going to be the better. So how do you guys play the game? Like, how important is photography, and how dominant is the photography element when it comes to grinding or raiding or play? Has this really changed the way you play the game, or do you see that your gameplay has, I don't want to say suffered because that's negative, but do you think that there has been like a really significant shift like in the way you play the game? Like, Reese, so what about you, man? Like, are you out there still playing and catching and raiding, or do you spend your time like focusing on photography?
So when I first got back into Pokemon Go, back in April of last year, I was on my way to hit level 40 probably within like the first 5 months and everything. But then I discovered AR photography around the first water day with Lapras being out in the wild and everything. My first photo was with me and Lapras, and my XP gaining has just went, and I just hit level 40 just last month. So it's just been pretty much AR photography. Like I might do like a raid maybe 5 times a week, maybe. So.
See, now the noise, I'm gonna have to bust your chops here, man, because you're in our Discord.
Yeah.
And it seems like every 15 minutes you're posting your next shiny.
Mhm.
And we were talking about like everyone was posting their before and after APOM, Pokedex screenshots.
Yeah.
And I'm like, holy shit, I've checked 500. I've got none. And he's like, yeah, man, I checked 2,100. It's like, so, I was like, Haxor's.
Yeah, I play pretty hard. I mean, my job, I'm mobile all day, all around the entire city. So, I mean, thankfully I could have that going, and wherever I stop, I'm playing, and it's so I'm playing all day.
Do you have the Go Plus or a Gotcha?
Gotcha. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. But most of my shinies don't come from that. So, I mean, whatever. But
still jealous.
So as far as playing, I mean, I'm still playing all the time. The photography, if I'm in a place where I think I could take a good picture, I will do that. I tend to take most of the photos on the weekends when I'm out doing things with the kids and the wife and exploring the areas, and then try to stack up as many photos as I can to edit and kind of release after that. So
yeah,
but
I mean,
I'm playing is just as hard as
like
before.
One of the things I found myself doing, like when I took that Clerks shot, when I went to Quick Stop. So I play in Red Bank, New Jersey every week. That's my grinding spot. There's you could hit 75 stops in 30 minutes. It's amazing for restocking. It's amazing for volume catching.
Oh, that's crazy.
Yeah, it's flooded with gyms and stops. It's phenomenal.
I've been there and it is fantastic.
And then the Quick Stop, it's 15 minutes from Red Bank. But I found myself when I left my house in the morning saying, okay, I'm going to go grind for 3 hours and restock and do some catching. But then I'm going to make it seem like, and I used, in my past life, I was a musician. So I would do these destination things where it's like, you have to go out, you have to go to your destination, do your business and leave. And I found myself doing that with my gameplay that day, where it was like, okay, I'm going to play for a couple hours in Red Bank, and I'm going to catch and I'm going to spin. But then I'm going to take a ride out and I'm going to do some photography. And it's like, I'm still playing the game. Like, and that's what was so exciting to me, was I didn't have to be, facing the screen, catching, spinning, like all that. And I was still engaging with the game. And I think that was one of the coolest elements of it, because I was still able to engage in the game and I didn't have to actually be catching or spinning or doing any of that or raiding or anything like that. It's just another way to engage with the game.
Yeah, I feel like now there's no downtime. It's just, I want to do this now. And then, I want to do that. Like, I want to take a picture of this.
Especially
I want to do a raid.
Events going on, like there's always a new event.
Right. And there's always a new shiny.
And social media.
Oh my God, yes, right?
Well, that's one of the things I wanted to talk to Ash about, because if, looking at Ash's Instagram account, he does a phenomenal job with kind of the highlights here of breaking out all these really cool scenarios and things. Like, how much of your brand and the development of your brand is this offline work, where you're actually doing operational stuff and logistical stuff that's not within the game and not within the photography space, and actual just social media campaign management. I mean, because it seems that this is taking on a life of its own in your account.
Yeah, true. I think in the beginning it was a little bit too much. Like you search like a hashtag Pokemon Go AR, Pokemon Go AR Plus, and you start liking as much as pictures as possible to get a lot of response. But now I'm like, just okay, I put on my pictures. Ah, that's Pillow. So we meet 2 months ago. So that's actually one of the parts of the game I like the most. Like, it's such a simple game, and you get to meet people from the other side of the world, which you would never meet otherwise. So that's really
Yelling
nice.
reversal style right there.
Yeah, the love story. So yeah, so yeah, I think I put myself with the hashtags a little bit in too much work. So I started the AR decks like a couple of months ago. So I don't know if you know about it, but I ask people to send me one picture, one sentence about them, and then I feature them either west or east. Yeah, but people are sending me so
Jellybird.
much. Yeah, it's a nice picture.
Yay, deliver team.
Yeah. So I think, yeah, it's a lot of work. So you have to keep it at a rate for yourself that is still manageable. So yeah, I think to get that started again. So yeah, I think next to just taking photos, it's a lot of extra work too.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I mean, and that's for me. That's kind of one of the things that I'm burnt. You know what I mean? Like I'm absolutely fried, and that's part of the challenge of making all this work and bringing people together and doing this stuff. And it's like I'm a control freak, so it's like learning that you can release kind of some of this stress and some of this mental block of I need to do it through collaboration. I think is a beautiful thing. Because when you find creators that you can connect with on that level, where you can share your creative vision, you can share your creative process, and actually, make these things happen, where you can feel confident in the people that you're working with, that kind of relieves some of that stress. But yeah, I know as an artist, it's got to be exceptionally difficult because there's time that you need to commit to brand development. And that could be not important to you. And if anyone's out there listening and they're saying like, oh, I don't care about any of that shit, I just want to take pictures. That's freaking awesome. Like, that's great.
Yeah.
But
My aesthetic.
It says the guy who's on Twitter 24 hours a day.
I don't have a diary. I need to pitch somewhere.
But it's like, that's probably one of the more behind the scenes thing of really, if someone did want to pursue this as brand development, of getting their name out there and building a brand and building up a following and a community, there's a significant amount of effort that needs to go in, and that effort equates to time. And the time is really, I'm sure, everyone's enemy on this panel, because that, we've got so much shit to do. We've got families. We've got, we still got to go grocery shopping. We still got to do this stuff, and it's like, it kind of gets clouded because you could watch YouTube and you're like, yeah, that dude's going to wake up all day and play video games all day. And then, they're going to spend their entire day doing this. And they, it's unfair of me to say they have the luxury of doing that. And I think
much more.
They earned that.
Exactly. And I think that's part of the challenge as a consumer, is the identification of the effort that goes into things outside of just the face value of what we're seeing. Because you say, okay, I'm going to watch this 15-minute, trainer tips video, but this video did not take 15 minutes to make. You know what I mean? It's like there's a reason why I keep coming back to a certain creator's content, and understanding that and appreciating what goes on outside of the face value is exceptionally important. And Ash, when I really started digging into your page, I was crazily impressed. I go, there's so much shit going on here. There's so much stuff. And like, before I knew it, it's like I had a notepad in front of me and I'm writing down other creators' names. And I go, I got to check this person out. I got to check this person out.
Yep.
And
it's like a wiki page. It's like a wiki page.
Right. And
it really is.
But to me, that's the magic. That's the magic. And as a podcaster, I found the same thing. We collaborate with other podcasts all the time. GoCast podcast. Chris, JC, you were on that show too. We're doing a meetup in Chicago. Oh, I'm going to plug the shit out of this right now. Friday night in Chicago, the 14th at Monk's Pub. Yo, we're having a podcast meetup. A bunch of YouTubers are going to come through. A bunch of JT Valor will be there, and it's gonna be a lot of fun. Check out luredup.com. Oh yeah, there's gonna be a shitload of people there. We're doing a social media tournament. It's gonna be awesome. But again, it comes back to the community, and it's difficult to not sound cliche and cheesy, you know what I mean? But it really is about the community. It really is all about the people, because we're not robots, you know what I mean? And the understanding of the process, I think, is part of the appreciation of the work, because it's, it doesn't matter that image that we love and can dote over only took 10 minutes. It has nothing to, that's not important. What's important is I can find enjoyment in viewing this content. I can find enjoyment in looking at this, and also I can meet these other people and connect with other people. And through social media, the accessibility to the artist, I think that's kind of a game changer, because it's like, I grew up liking Metallica. You know what I'm saying? I'm not going to be able to tweet at him and get a response in 30 seconds. You know what I mean? It's like, it is what it is. So it's like, it's the dynamic of community building and social media building is kind of, I think if you're going for this for brand building, is a necessary component to all of it. And there's a lot of effort. And Ash, I definitely appreciated that.
Thank you.
Everything that you're doing there.
I think that's a good thing, because we actually started a group chat on Instagram with 30 people, I don't know, a month ago, 2 months ago.
Yeah.
And people are like, okay, I have this technique, I give it this name, and we share it next week, and everyone tries to do it themselves. And then we put a deadline for ourselves and just push it out. And I think that's the great thing about it. Like, you just don't
community
keep it
goals.
Yeah, you don't keep it for yourself, but you share it, and you make a tutorial, and okay, everyone can access it, and it's much more fun than just doing it all on yourself, I think.
Yeah, no, that's a great point, and I definitely give it a significant amount of merit to the community for giving that stuff up, because in a lot of other situations you'd want to kind of keep that in your back pocket. You know what I mean? It's like, why am I going to share this with you? I want the edge, but like I said, when the tide rises, all the boats get lifted. That's I try to live that mantra every day. Look in the mirror while I'm brushing my teeth. I'm like, yeah, man, like, what can I do good for the community today? Like, and the cheese and the corniness that comes along with saying those phrases out loud, I don't give a shit, because I love this community. And it's like, if I got to be that cheesy guy that says, like, what am I going to do today to kind of, like, get everybody up and at them? It's like, that's going to be me, because that's really what this community is all about. All right, I want to start wrapping up here. We've been over an hour now. I want to put our tinfoil hats on. This is one of my favorite things here when it comes to the podcast. Of whenever I get a creator on, I say, look, this is the platform. You have the opportunity to kind of talk about the good, the bad, the ugly, what you want. Let's go around the room. If you could bring one thing to the Go Snapshot element of this game, that mechanic, something with photography, what would you bring to the game? I'm going to go all the way around the room. Noise, if you could add one thing, what would it be?
I want to be able to, like when you're in your decks in the game, if you click on a Pokemon, I want it to tag to like a photo in your photo album in your phone that you could bring up that's like assigned to that Pokemon. So like you click on a Squirtle, it'll bring up the picture in your photo album that you've assigned to Squirtle.
So you could have like a dex of all of your photos within the app. Like I would even take a third-party version of that. That sounds phenomenal.
That is sick. Yeah, what a good idea.
Wow, Risa, what about you?
And even if it's just
come
one,
back, come back, keep going.
All right, Pello.
I think everybody agrees with this, but it's a very basic thing. If we could just click through the animations, that just like helped me out so much. And that's basically it. I think we're on the right path, and I really thank Pokemon Go and Niantic for putting more light into our creations. And I think that I have nothing I'm mad at. I'm just really happy that everything is going the right way for us.
Oh, that's awesome. And Miranda, what about you? What would you add?
Recently they had some new stickers for AR Playground from Detective Pikachu. So I played around with that for the first time. And I don't know if anybody else has played around in AR Playground, but when you like change the lighting physically changes on the objects in Playground. Like it knows how dark it is and it reacts accordingly. So something like that would be beyond phenomenal. And I know that they have the capabilities. I think that that's my most realistic request. But being able to put things in place and hide them behind objects, like knowing true place, would be phenomenal. I just don't think the AR is there yet.
Yeah, for me that's where I would be. The occlusion is probably the most important thing for me, but things like that require capabilities of the actual devices that just isn't
Right.
there yet. And
Mhm.
I think, the next wave of handsets, we talked about on the podcast where Niantic is making the strategic partnerships to bring in the talent and bring in the know-how to kind of build this foundation to be able to start doing this stuff. And with their, partnerships with Samsung that will allow them to be a part of the development of these handsets and ultimately 5G, which is a whole nother conversation. Yeah, man, I'm so ready to get fried. I can't wait. But when seeing that demo of Pikachu running around that park bench and seeing Eevee kind of darting in and out behind flower pots, that's a game changer. And I think that once that occlusion comes, I think that's really where we're going to start to see some creative stuff. But if I had the $1 million thing, the real, really pointy tinfoil hat, I want fucking wearables. I want to be able to put, I've always said it, give me the cybernetic cornea, like just plug it into my eyeball. I want to be able to have some, HoloLens technology. I mean, even looking something like the, the Snapchat spectacles or whatever.
Well, we had a little preview of that where the person put on the goggles and they were seeing the gyms outside their building, seeing, Squirtle pop up on the gym, the Ballard gym and stuff like that.
Yeah.
That little video.
Yeah, that was that Japanese event, and again, that was a Microsoft partnership with HoloLens Tech that they were able to kind of hold in front of the camera. And I really think, and I said that this game at large, or these Niantic real world platform games, really the future is wearables when it comes to what the capabilities are. I think that down the road, the wearables are going to be the real secret sauce to making this less of a mobile game and more of just this complete immersive experience. But yeah, that's still a little bit out. Justin, what about you, man? What do you think is the one thing that you would really add to this mechanic?
What's really sad is I know it'll never happen, but coming from a photographer background, that's my area of expertise. I would love for manual camera settings, or at least the inclusion of a third-party app to allow manual camera settings. So things like ISO, shutter speed. I would love for zoom to be a thing. So anything within the manual setting mode, I think would be great. So I can't tell you how many times I've gone to a dark, because I hate taking pictures at night because there's so much digital noise, so you have to edit that out and things like that. But if you had manual camera settings, you could adjust your ISO and your shutter speed accordingly, or even just your f-stop, to make those things dissipate a lot more. And I know you guys have probably tried taking stuff at night, and it's incredibly difficult, and it often looks like crap. And
my Rapidash, my ponytail photo, shiny ponytail.
So I would love that. I know it'll never happen, but some variant of that, even if it's a watered down version of that, maybe here's 3 options for 20 times zoom, 50 times zoom, 100 times zoom. Here's a couple of options for taking during daylight, taking during nighttime, taking during sunlight, taking during cloudy. You know what I mean? Options like that.
Yeah, those
I would
4
love that.
options seem very plausible. Something easy, that they could do.
Yeah.
At least those 4 options, nighttime mode.
Yes,
mode.
like a nighttime mode would be cool.
Yeah.
But Risa, if you could pick one thing, what would you want though?
Video recording.
That would be
so
cool.
Video mode.
So we don't have to use a third-party mode where it has that little red bar up there. Then we have to edit it out. kind of thing.
you having to manipulate your screen capture to kind of capture the video, and then panning and all that stuff is kind of funky.
JT Valor's he does that a lot in his videos, where he'll just do like, here's a Pokemon, here's me hanging out in town, and oh, there's a Clefairy over there, but you can tell it sucks that like when he pans over, you can see that minor glitch of the grid resetting itself, and it kind of takes you out of it,
Yeah. I want Detective Pikachu level anchoring,
with the fur
I would
and
love
the
for the
textures and
anchoring
everything
to be better.
Well, I think that's ultimately going to come when the grid cell size shrinks, and the way that's going to happen is going to be through us mapping the actual world with our handsets, and I think that's part of when Niantic acquired Escher, with the technology that they have of using multiple devices to map a persistent space. And then allowing that would building that the occlusion space out, because I'm seeing it from one angle, you're seeing it from another angle, and then mapping that in the GPS, using the real world platform to map that through GPS. There's a lot of shit going on, but yeah, that's I think the anchoring that's going to just be a natural progression as the tech moves forward at large. Ash, what about you, man? What do you think is what's your holy grail here? What would you add?
Yeah, what I really would like to see, I think it will be there the next year. It's like one extra button called Attack. And that gives the option to, like, for example, you have a Charmander, you press Attack, and then you can choose Ember, Scratch, and then it's a lot of possibilities, I think.
Yeah, I would love that.
And I think it will be there this year, maybe, or beginning next year.
It seems very plausible.
Even Growlithe Girl, she got the picture with playing with Total Dial, with a little bit of water. Like, if we could do that, that'd be amazing.
I also think it will save Justin a lot of time, not editing all the attacks, because then you already have it.
Or sitting there waiting for the Pokemon to do an animation. It's like, come on,
I know it takes forever.
My biggest thing,
or you miss it, and you're like, oh, now I got to wait another 45 seconds.
Yeah,
come on.
my biggest thing is with the Ghost Snap is, I'm taking photos on iOS. Is when Ghost Snap came out, is they eliminated the pop up. Every time we took a photo with iOS,
I love that.
Like, do you want to save this? And they're like, okay, yes, I want to save this. But you don't even have to hit save.
Yeah, sometimes I think I got it.
Yeah,
did I get it?
Couldn't do a burst mode, and now they have burst mode. It's great.
This out, you can just click.
Yep.
So,
what do they call it? Spray and pray. Spray and pray.
Before that, with Android, they never had a pop up. I'm like, what's this madness?
Yeah.
Like when I met Polkadot Zelda for the first time, I was taking a photo with his phone. I clicked it. I'm like, you have no pop-up, you bastard. What is this?
It was next level. It was a total game changer.
Yeah. But
see, like I was saying earlier, what I would like to see.
Like before Ghost Snap, he had no pop-up.
Yeah.
Right.
What I would like to see is that where the sun placement, so I can move the shadow to mimic where the sun is in the picture.
Yeah.
That's the only thing I want.
Selfie mode. Come on.
Oh my God. Selfie
mode. Yeah. Being able to flip the camera would be pretty awesome. And I'm not sure what that would
awkward.
take,
But you'll be too close to your Pokemon.
Too close, it's blurry.
But that's the thing. If they they take that into account and scale it, what I mean, to keep the proportions where, Snapchat does an amazing job of mapping your face and, moving their AR tech, in real time to match the scale of your face. So I think that they could use that same kind of grid mapping technology to, create the scale
on your face.
Yeah. Oh, dude.
Or just they see your face.
I'm
they're on your shoulder.
I'm almost Snorlax already.
Yeah.
I can barely open my eyes. So it's
new filters of every Pokemon ever, and just of you. That would take forever.
That'd be awesome.
Well, I just like some, a Pokemon sitting on your shoulder, like it has like.
Imagine behind your shoulder, like Lugia, just behind you, like selfie mode. That'd be epic,
That would be great.
And again, that
just sitting
comes
there like,
that comes back to the occlusion. That would still need,
Yeah.
your body would still need to be in the foreground. So
Yeah.
the occlusion technology would need to map you and then be able to block out that anchored item that's behind you. So there's a lot of tech that's just I know it's right there. I know it's right there. Give it to me, Tim.
we are
I think
this
with
close.
the occlusion, that's a realistic expectation. The selfie mode thing. I think you're
Yeah.
onto something there, Ken.
Yeah,
Niantic, here are words.
yeah. No, but think about it from an accessibility standpoint. I think that you would end up seeing a sheer volume increase of photos if it
Yeah.
wasn't someone that says, okay, I got to go out there and frame the perfect photo and do all this versus someone just going like, hey girl, hey.
Right,
You know
and
what I
then
mean?
that's
Like,
even more exposure for Pokemon Go because people make it their profile pics. I can have a Delibird. Are you kidding me? All day,
Yeah.
every day.
but-
Yeah, and they even
But-
went so far as to have a buddy challenge recently, and it's like
Yeah.
there were a lot of photographers who were like, "How?"
A lot of
gonna take
my
this
thoughts were
shot?
like, I wish
Yeah.
I had a selfie mode.
yeah,
Yeah,
Yeah.
or
yeah.
an extra pair of hands.
Yes.
I
Yes.
was
Look at
lucky
my
and
champ.
fortunate to have some.
Talking about that, I bought a tripod and it has a Bluetooth remote. If the
Doesn't
Bluetooth could connect,
Doesn't work.
if the Bluetooth could connect to like the upper volume button, so I could take pictures with the upper volume button, I
Yeah.
just do that by
Nope.
myself. So that'd be
Yeah.
amazing.
But it doesn't
If
work.
they could get that to work, I
Yeah,
would.
doesn't
be so
work.
grateful.
Like if
A
they
remote
made
mode.
it, just click on the plus sign. If I
Right,
could
just
click
like
on the
your
plus sign,
camera
yeah.
would. Yeah.
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 Oh
remote
man,
mode would be great.
We gotta do a roundtable part 2, and we'll just spitball ideas for 2 hours.
Agreed. Let's do this.
Man.
I am
I'm
into
down.
that.
I'm down.
I'm down.
Down.
All right, guys, but I think we're gonna wrap this up. I want to thank everyone that's hung out in the chat.
Hold on.
Adam.
Oh,
One
wait,
quick
what?
question.
What?
When does the Go Snapshot this challenge end?
We're done.
Great.
23rd.
Go create.
the
Ask
Go
Chris,
Create?
Go
he knows.
create.
23rd.
The 23rd. Okay. All right.
I gave up. I conceded.
I have a few minutes that I can post something. I guess.
Oh wait, Risa brought a booster. He's bringing the TCG to AR. Adam, you gonna do a quick pack battle real quick?
Yeah. Risa, do you want to go first?
You sure?
Do you want me to go
Explain
first?
how you switch.
Okay. So you rip open this part, you grab this.
I know
This
how
is
to
the
open up a fucking pack.
You use your teeth sometimes. No. I'm just
Yes,
kidding.
I'm a fucking slap it.
Okay. So if you get a code that's white, you're in the gold. Oh, you got a green one, so it's not good. I already know I won. So so you take so you have the cards face down. So it's 1, 2, 3, and then the fourth card is an energy. You kind of like flip it and just throw it away. And then the other 2 cards are your reverse and your rare. And then you put those on top, and then you flip it around, and then
I think you already broke Risa.
yeah. Or you just leave the energy there. I guess that works too. You just throw it away.
All right, we got Frogadier.
Oh, hold on. A Frogadilly? Ooh, it's a wielder.
Welder, bro.
It's a Laharion.
You like Chaz Smith? Yo,
He's got that Santa Fe lean.
No, wait.
Hey, it's Pink Week at you. It's
Grubin.
Grubin.
That's a practical art card. I love that.
Costly. Gligger.
Gligger.
Reverse Bell.
Reverse Bellsprout. That's cool.
Hold it.
It's a Butterfree.
That's good though. 130 hit points.
Yeah, but what does it do? I haven't
We
seen
got
half
one
these cards.
too.
It
Oh
beats you.
snap! Oh,
Wait, so
snap!
Wait, do you want to go or?
Yeah,
Oh,
man.
you should go last. I think. You're
All
the
right, all
host,
right.
so like.
All right.
You wanna open?
Wow, this is taking a turn to TCG. I love it. I love it.
I'm out.
No, that's one of the cool things too. Is the crossover. You know, the crossover from different Pokemon mediums.
It's a Squirtle. Klefki. Voltorb. Wheel. That's a Whittle Weedle.
I love
Yeah,
that.
they-
Vullaby. Is that a Togepi?
Volibee.
If Togepi.
Is that
were-
a Nanu?
Press
Nanu?
card.
Natu? Hey, it's a Farfetch.
Hey, Bobby.
Graveler. Reverse Hollow Brock's Grit. It should be Brock's Thirsty.
Oh,
Lapras.
Ooh, okay.
Second Lapras we pulled today.
All right.
Nice.
All right. Okay.
So me and Miranda are tied.
Oh, it's a green. It's a green code. So the
Oh,
most I
okay.
could get is a hollow.
Oh,
1, 2, 3. It's a psychic energy. Oh, I think I messed it up. Oh, I got something on me. All right, because I can't really see my
That
screen. What is this? It's a whooper. Whoopa. Crookadookle.
Depression,
Sleepy
Long Hope,
Meowth. We got a Gruben.
sadness.
Dude.
A
Hey.
Jiddid.
Ken.
Jiddid.
Yep.
It's a Ken dude.
That's my boy.
Porygon 2. Similar to Porygon 3. What is that? Dodrio. That's a Metapod.
Maximum heart.
Hardness.
Hard.
M-Pits. All right,
Aw,
reverse
cute.
hollow is a Jiggly Wiggly. And our rare is a Salazzle. This is actually really good for the set. So it's a
All right.
reverse reveal.
But the Butterfree and the Lapras were both 130 hit points.
Yeah, so I lose.
Oh.
Because I'm only 100 hit points. But I have an ability. Does that count? I don't know.
No.
Pack Wars.
This is a whole subculture in the TCG side of things, man. See, they build their own metas. It's just like the AR community. It's pretty awesome. It's like the TCG community is exceptionally creative. All right, but that's going to wrap up the show. Everyone, thank you so much for checking out the Roundtable. We're going to do these pretty much every 2 weeks or so.
Yeah, thanks for hanging out.
The schedule is going to break up a little bit because of GoFest, but the next one's going to be June 1st. I'm bringing a bunch of YouTubers back on. JT Valor will be part of that group. Kato Nolan, Hybrid Mongoose, Infamous Big Rob. Every couple of weeks we're going to be doing these roundtables. I'm sure we'll have another round of AR photographers, Go Snapshot people back on in a couple of weeks to kind of do the same thing and talk again, all about building this community, building ideas, sharing creative juices. That's what really this is all
When the
about.
tide rises,
Yes, I want to
the
share
boat
some
all
juices.
get worth it. I don't know how to whatever it was.
But thanks again, everyone. Please check out luredup.com for everything that we're doing. I'll put links in the description to everyone's pages. Make sure you go there. Hit that subscribe button as gently as possible. Maybe just graze it with your nose.
Just
I am the subscription commander. But no, but thank you guys for checking this out. And yeah, everyone, thank you so much for coming on. This was very informative, and I hope some people learn some stuff about AR and get inspired to get out there and take some pictures tomorrow during community day.
Wait, you
What?
can take good photos with regular AR. Just want to say that.
Yeah.
Sure.
Yep.
Yeah, that's
100%.
But thank you guys.
People
Thank you so
stop
much.
bitching.
I'm shutting down the stream. Thank you again. Till next time, guys. Keep training.
Thanks for having us.
Thanks you.
Thank you.